Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to come to you again one more time for a Live with Venice episode. I am your host, Venice Irving, and today we are talking about a very serious and sobering topic. We're talking about the mental health of our teachers in Jamaica. As usual, I ask you to like, share, and subscribe this video for everyone to hear and see what is going on and how we can cope with mental health issues here in Jamaica. I have with me our special guest today, Miss Trudy King, who comes with years of experience in the mental health field, and she's here to give us some advice as to what we can do to cope with the crisis that is at hand. All right, so brace yourselves. We're going to be talking about deep topics. I want you to have a notepad and a pen with you to make notes. And if you don't have one now, you can always watch the replay to get all the information. And I'm going to try my very best to put the information at the bottom of the screen for you. If you are someone who is struggling with mental health, we're going to put an email that you can contact Miss King at so that you can get the help that you need. So without much further ado, let me bring on Miss Trudy King. Welcome, Trudy, to the program. Nice to have you here today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's my pleasure. Oh, my pleasure.
So, first thing I want to ask you, Trudy, is just to introduce yourself because you may not be familiar with you.
So, I'm Trudy King. I'm the Director of Empowering Children and Families. That's a not for profit organization based in the UK, but we deliver courses online. So, we do social intervention courses and training to just about anyone and everyone. Our flagship course at the minute is a course called First Aid for Mental Health.
And that is first aid for
We
mental health.
also help organizations. So, First Aid for Mental Health, we have a course called Family First Aid for Mental Health, and we help organizations to write or amend their mental health policy and implement a positive mental health culture in the workplace.
All right. I'm putting in my earphones. Let me know if you can hear me clearly. Can you?
Yes, I can.
All right. I'm not hearing. I'll try again. All right,
I'm
Trudy,
hearing you
can you?
clearly.
It's all right.
Yes.
It wasn't working. It's fine. All right. So, I came. I wanted to invite you on this platform a long time now, and I've reached out to you before, but it just didn't work out. But I think having you on the program right now was the perfect time for us to talk about what is going on in Jamaica right now. Everyone
Mhm.
that's doing, as you know, um, we had a tragedy that happened last week in Jamaica in the Montego Bay, and the entire Jamaica has been reeling with the ramifications of what happened. Not only persons who live in Jamaica, but persons who are part of the diaspora, because we are all invested in the well-being of Jamaica and Jamaicans. So truly, based on the story, I'm not going to rehash what the story is. If you don't know, you can go to the news reporter or the news reports on Jamaica Gleaner website, Jamaica Observer website, and see what happened. So truly, based on what you saw on the news, what is your professional opinion on what happened on that fateful night?
First of all, I have to really admit that I do limit my news, so I'm not up to date with all of the details of what happened. Just from a mental health standpoint, just from the little bit. So I just want to say that I've seen, um, we when we have a situation when we have vulnerable individuals, into a space where they're looking for a sense of belonging and hope, that's when we start having a problem when they're first vulnerable. And so, what we want to encourage everyone if you're feeling vulnerable and have any form of mental health issues, seek professional help. I'm not saying church isn't good, but one of the things in our course that we teach is that we approach it from the standpoint of seeking professional help, And then you have self-help strategies, which would be church, if we take it from that standpoint. But to not engage with professionals, so vulnerable, it could be a chemical imbalance that you're having that you might need medication. So we're taking it from the standpoint of seek professional help, and by all means go to church. We don't say, we would never not say not go to church.
All right,
I'm
but
not sure that helps.
what if, and you are saying seek professional help but go to church? What if you go to church but you meet upon someone like the bishop at church? What then do
If
they
you're
do, especially if they are vulnerable? Because remember, they are vulnerable, and we always say the church is really a hospital for sick people. It's really where people go to be healed and loved and feel acceptance from the Lord. So what do you say when you go to church but you meet upon people like these?
it is very difficult, I think, for a to be able to make a correct decision when they meet upon individuals who will manipulate their vulnerability. So really the key is for those who are around them to help them. And really the key is for those who are leaders, when vulnerable people come into your space, that you have the correct training to be able to give them the correct help. It's really, if you're going to take on a leadership position, we really should be helping and not making the situation worse.
Right.
And so it's incumbent on all of us, and especially if you're a leader, whenever you meet somebody who's vulnerable, be a safe space, because sometimes they can't make good decisions. They can't. And we just have to accept that and help them.
All right. Do you think that all pastors, persons who are heads of churches, do you think they need mental health training?
Yes, 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 yes. Like yesterday, yes. So we
Mhm.
deliver a course called First Aid for Mental Health. And yes, all pastors, deacons, elders, once you're on the board, once you hold some kind of position in the church, Sunday school teacher, usher, drive the Sunday school, the church bus, you need that training. I'm not sure if I should go into it. I'm just going to touch it a little bit. We both have church background, so
Right.
we're okay to say this. I think we qualify to say this, that a lot of churches talk about possession. And if I ask you if you're feeling stressed or anxious, and if you felt that way for the last 2 months or 3 years, my question to you is, are you possessed? And you would say no. But that's considered now you've gone into a mental illness because you've not sought professional help
Right.
and you're not doing anything about it, especially if you don't have a self-help strategy that's making you cope correctly. And so that's a distinction that I think the church needs to find, to know actually that we need to go away from this. The person is demon possessed. It's 2021. Let's move away let's get awareness training for
Mhm.
all. As a matter of fact, the whole congregation should get awareness training,
Mhm.
because then another person in the congregation can know if what the leader is doing is correct.
Mhm. All
So they
right.
can say,
So
no, no, no,
I
no, no.
do hear what you're saying, but that this still doesn't mean that something called demon possession doesn't exist.
It does. It
It
does.
does.
Those things.
So how do we know the difference then between demon possession and mental illness? That is
Well,
the key.
that's the key. And in the training, we kind of, because more training, but within a church setting, if you're aware, you'll see manifestation versus when the person is oppressed. Because if somebody is stressed
Right.
right now, are they possessed? No. If they're, oh, I'm so exhausted, oh, I'm so sad, they're not possessed, they're just oppressed. And
Right.
so,
Right.
as opposed to when there's a obvious manifestation of something happening. I mean,
Right.
I'm not an elder in the church, so I don't want this. Don't come from me. I don't want the church to come and start begging me and
Neither
say,
am I, but the conversation has to start and continue throughout our time here and throughout, even after we leave this platform, we need to have this conversation because
we need to, it is important.
whatever happened last week cannot happen again. It just can't. So we need, I think, even going now and moving the conversation to the teachers.
Can I just
All
say one thing
teachers
before we
need
move to the
mental
teachers
health.
as well? Because we are in Jamaican culture is
Right.
steep in a lot of things. Oh, yeah, man, you know, it's steep in a lot of things that aren't really,
Especially,
really godly.
right,
We automatic and we don't have a healthy attitude towards mental health. Distinction between mental health condition, and mental illness, because all we know is mental health, and then we think mental health is just mad.
right,
So to change the conversation, my idea is departments being trained, all executives and managers that can implement that are in control of implementing the right mental health policy and procedures be
right,
trained. And that's why I entered the Ministry of Health and Wellness's research conference in 2019, and I won the most impactful presentation because
right.
I am proposing that we do mental health awareness training from high school, from primary
Absolutely,
school. Let's change the school
absolutely.
curriculum and then let's have our HR people implementing it, all managers being trained.
All right. So we're talking, guys, if you just joined us, we're talking about protecting our teachers' mental health. We just looked at what's going on in Jamaica right now. If you're not in Jamaica and you're joining us from another country, you can always check up online as to what's going on in our small but beautiful country. And we want to go right into the different questions that I have for Trudy right now. So, Trudy, as we talk about mental health, many people have their own definition of what mental health is. So, from a professional standpoint, can you tell us what is mental health?
Right. So mental health. So first of all, I'm a first aid for mental health instructor. I'm not like a psychiatrist or whatever, and who gets trained to deliver this course. So it doesn't use any professional speech. The ordinary person, children as young as 14 can understand what's going on. And it helps those individuals to take ownership of their mental health, to take care of their own mental health, and to take care of those around. So mental health basically is the emotional, psychological, and the social aspect of well-being, meaning that all areas, your emotions are well, your thoughts are well, and the settings that you're in, whether work, school, church, you're well as well. You're safe, you're healthy, and you're well. That's what mental health is. So if I say to you physical health, you're going to automatically imagine somebody who is of a good body weight and with a good BMI. No untowards medical situation. So if physical health isn't a bad word, mental health cannot be a bad word either,
Hmm.
because it's the same thing. It's the health of your body and the health of your mind. So hashtag after tonight, everybody who's watching, hashtag mental health is a good word.
That's
That's
right.
it.
That's a good one.
That's
Mental
what
health
we're
is a good one.
striving. It is. So, and then you have the mental health condition, which we all experience. God made us that way. We feel sad. It's a disturbance to our well-being. So while in mental health we can handle stressors very well, we can make good decisions, we can interact with people, when those things start to be disturbed, we're now experiencing a mental health condition. And so, like when we suffer loss, when somebody dies, we grieve. Those different elements have been disturbed. As you know, they like to say mad. You're not every all experience those are natural emotions that God made us with. We have mental illness. We slide into that now when we experience this condition for longer. Some people say 2 weeks, and extended without any form of help, professional help. So you're just sad for a month, 2 months, 3 months. You
Right.
haven't spoken to anybody about it. You don't have any self-help strategy. You're beginning to disengage with your normal reality, and you can't function at work or school anymore, and you have not sought, you have not gone to the doctor, not gone to a therapist. You now are presenting with a mental illness. I hope that clears it up for everybody.
Right. So basically, mental illness is when you are a bit depressed, a bit sad for a prolonged period of time, usually up to 6 months. Is that what you said?
When we it starts at 2 weeks, they generally tend to ask you to check after 2 weeks to just self re-evaluate. But when
Right.
it goes for up to a month now and you're not seeking any form of professional help, that's the key thing. When you have not sought any help at all, you've just left it untreated, you now have a problem.
And are these people usually ones that have suicidal thoughts, thoughts of self-harm?
It depends on what they're experiencing. So if somebody is probably right there and thinking of, in a depressive state, they might do that. If somebody probably is a little bit stressed, they might not think about doing that. They just might just can see the stressors that are around them. And
Right.
that's why it's important that they seek professional help, because a professional now is now trained to figure out, they have all the tools to figure out where they are at, what's happening to them, and how to give that correct help.
All right. So you're talking to the person who would have issues with mental health. What about persons who they are related to, or they have a coworker, colleague, a friend, who they are depressed, but they don't know? What kind of signs can we see or symptoms, if there are, of persons who may exhibit this mental illness? And then
So,
what can we do?
so the first thing is when somebody starts to that change to who they normally are has happened, especially after something traumatic like a death or a loss. And it's a red flag is if you can't think of anything traumatic that has happened, but they have changed their behavior. Now they're sad, they can't concentrate very well, they're having anxious and nervous thoughts, they're thinking of killing themselves, they're just sad, they prefer to just sleep than to be awake. They'll tell you that there's an overwhelming sadness that's upon them and they have no hope. Those are just a few things. I mean, the course goes in depth into the different signs and symptoms. And when in mental health, when we talk about a sign, with first aid for mental health, I should say, when we say a sign, it's what I would look for in the next person. And a
Right,
symptom is what the person who's experiencing what they're experiencing will tell me how they're feeling.
right.
And you've taken the course, you've taken our half day
Yes.
course, so you can let them know what the course is all about.
So the sign is like the outward appearance, the outward manifestation of whatever,
Yes, what
you're,
I'm seeing, the onlook, what I
and
am
then
seeing is happening to
the
the person.
symptoms is what you're
Symptoms,
looking
what they
for.
tell me they're experiencing.
Right. All right. All right. So let us move on now. So we're still talking about teachers, but I will divert from the conversation every now and again,
It's
just
okay.
based on what is going on and the climate that we're in. All right. So let us see now, how can teachers now protect their mental health? I must say, truly, that I do feel concerned. I wouldn't say I'm worried. I feel
Mhm.
concerned, especially for my teachers who are part of my group, Happy Teachers Online Club. Hi, everyone who is a part of the club. I remember it was maybe a year ago or so. I put I put a question on the Facebook group, in the Facebook group, and the question was something like, share with us, your happiest moment teaching, something along that line.
Mhm.
And the responses I got were all negative. I even had a teacher who said she's had suicidal thoughts. And this was not because of the actual career of teaching. This was not the job that was stressing them. It was the co-workers and colleagues, or the principal, or the administrators, that were stressing them so much that they felt that they needed to end their life, or they felt depressed, or they felt that there's no way out. teachers in Jamaica are under so much stress, not because of the actual job itself, but because of just their colleagues, stressing them out. So, how can teachers protect their mental health with all of that?
So the first thing is awareness. We can't protect what we don't know. And so we're advocating mental health awareness training.
Okay,
So you get a good, healthy dose of how you take care of your mental health and how
right,
to yourself and how to help change the environment, how to cultivate a positive mental health culture, to ask
right.
your principal or your head teacher for things that would make it, more conducive to a positive mental health culture. So the first thing, protect yourself through knowledge. And then after you have the knowledge, implement it. There's no good talking about something that you don't implement. And I'll tell you, like one of the things I do, which is very, very difficult to do with this common, but I have to do it. So no matter who sends me something on WhatsApp or any other information, I try to fact check it. I try to fact check the information. And when they're starting to have a conversation with me about something and go, yes, 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 the cow is blue, I stop them all politely and everything. And if I found out that the cow wasn't blue, then I kindly, as Jamaicans say, take away myself from the conversation. I kindly remove myself politely because now you're going to try and engage because there's misinformation and disinformation. So that's how. And I learned that I have to fact check. That's how. So I implement it, and I'm not going to be afraid. It could be the head teacher. I don't care who you are. If you're giving me mis and disinformation, I have the right to protect my mental health to say no. I'm not going down that road. So we have to, work up the courage to be able to implement our wellness strategies. Then we can get professional help. So go to your doctor, talk to your, find they will be able to point you in a crisis line, or something like that. And then there are several other things you can do. You can listen to a podcast. So you were on one of ours where we have a nice empowering children and families of a nice little talk show that we do called Thoughts. And the idea is just get people to talk out what's in their head, their thoughts, to see what we're going for the positive side of the thoughts. And the idea is so that somebody who's watching, like if they watch your thoughts, they'd be like, oh, very similar to Venice. And if this is one of these strategies, so you have podcasts like that, you have books, you have games and quizzes and material. You also have a range of other organizations that you can reach out to ask for help. So there are a range of things that teachers can actually do to be able to help, what they do. Don't be sucked into that toxic co-workers beef with the head of department. It's not your beef. It's
Sometimes
not
schools
your
just have a
problem.
toxic culture. Sometimes the school just has a toxic culture. And when you are hired, you go into that toxic culture. And it's hard to strip yourself away from when the senior teachers and the principals and the administrators and they are all working in collusion against the teachers who are on staff. Do you understand what I'm saying? No, I'm not saying all principals and administrators are like that.
No, we have
You
some nice
find
ones.
people, yeah, you do find people or you do find teachers that complain a lot about senior staff and how they're being treated by senior staff. Sometimes they don't get promotions because if the principal don't like you, that means you're not getting a promotion. So, things like that. And those things can cause stress on a teacher.
Yes,
Now,
they
what I
do. They
want,
do.
yes, I want to say though, you were talking about sharing your thoughts and sharing your emotions, get somebody to talk to, but not everybody trusts people. And sometimes it's a little difficult to find someone that you can trust to share so that you know find say your business out a door. You know what I'm talking about, Trudy. And that is a
Yes,
concern for
and my
people. It's not
response to
like they
that
don't
is,
want to share enough, but they don't want people to be talking
so
about them or talking to someone about their business. And that's a valid concern. What do you say?
yes, it is. It is. And here's my antidote for that, because I know what that's like. Here's what you do. From tonight, go through your phone and do a self-assessment. Well, maybe you shouldn't listen to me, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. Because I've done it. Go through your phone and just, do they call you just to gossip? Is everything
Mm,
doom and gloom? Do they tell you other people's business? Chances are, if they're telling you other people's business, they're talking yours as well. Are they
exactly.
confidential? So in taking care of your mental health, darling, get rid of them. Okay, don't listen to me. Maybe that's a bad thought. Maybe that's not Christian like. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to me. Pray for me. If you're a Christian watching, pray for me.
Well, what I usually tell the teachers is just find a stranger to talk to.
Don't.
Sometimes, if you can find a pastor or a counselor that don't know you that well to speak it too, it's a little better because you feel a little more comfortable when you're speaking to people that you don't know about your business. Understand?
Do you know that the next set of people that we advocate to be trained in first aid for mental health are hairdressers and taxi drivers?
Right, because people talk
Hairdressers
to them
and
a
taxi
lot.
drivers, because people don't really know some of them, especially the taxi drivers. They'll just tell their whole business
This
and then
is
get out of the cab.
so true. But it
So
goes the other way around too.
so
Sometimes it's
we
taxi driver them attack you. I say, my goodness, you know the man business, you know about him daughter work go foreign, you know.
because he needs somebody to talk to, and he's never gonna see you again.
But stick
But
a
we want
pin. There's an interesting thing. I watched a YouTube video. Maybe I shouldn't have watched it, but I'm gonna go there. I watched a YouTube video about a call girl who became a Christian, and she was talking about when she was a call girl, what happened, and the interviewer asked her, what was going on when you went with your clients and so forth. Describe the scene to us,
Mhm.
and she was like, most of them just paid me to talk. They had wives, they had children, but
Yeah,
all they
they're
wanted to
another
do
group
was
as
to
well.
take me out, sit at dinner and talk. And when we're done, he drops me
Hmm.
home,
Yeah,
and I'm on to the next client. And I'm like, I was shocked. I was like,
yeah.
so
And
people really
doctors
need
sometimes,
someone to talk to. Mhm.
yes. And doctors too, they'll just start, they come to the doctor saying to my head, but start talking about all kinds of things, and the GPs just sat there, and it shows
Well, hands down,
how
doctors need
you
mental health training.
yes,
All
yes.
doctors,
And so,
pediatricians,
well, let's start with
gynecologists,
our environment.
all of them, yes, because people do talk to their doctors
Let's
too
start with our
and share
environment. So look in your phone and do the test.
it.
When I talk to this person, I have my emotions changed? Do I have happy or what we call positive emotions or negative emotions?
Mm.
If you have
And sometimes people that you're
ne-
gonna cut off are family, right?
yes, yes,
Unfortunately,
yes, yes,
sometimes it's your
yes.
family, sometimes it's your
If
relatives.
your family is a source of your stress and distress, it's not cut off, because you can't really cut them off unless they live somewhere else. It's managing your interaction and finding an alternate source that's positive.
And protecting your boundary, stating what your
Boundaries,
boundaries are,
definitely.
and letting them know. And if they don't respect your boundaries, then you'll have, like you
Right?
said, you have to now manage the interaction.
And we know boundary setting goes. These are the things I would like to happen. This is what will happen if you cross them, and when they cross them, implement them.
Exactly. And you have to be strict, and it may be a cousin that you really like talking to, but for your own mental health, you realize that anytime you talk to this cousin, all the cousin wants to do is gossip about the members of the family. and so forth, and you realize it's not edifying you. It's not a positive conversation. You've got to limit your
So check,
interaction with this person.
just check how does my emotions change? Am I going into negative emotions or positive emotions? Changing my thoughts. So if I normally I'm a happy person and I have positive
Right.
thoughts, now I start saying yes, them not like me, them are dirty people too. How do we start going into that realm? With them, because they'll come and say, hey, the girl do this, and you say yes, and you're not like that. So don't let them take you there. Don't let them take you there. Don't let them take you there.
All right. We're going to jump ahead and
And
ask the question, how can teachers stay calm in times of pressure?
so good question. They can, again, I will put, they just need to ensure that they understand what their mental health awareness is. Yes, their mental health awareness is. So only you can control your situation. So employ your wellness strategy. That's the first thing. Use whatever wellness strategy after you've informed yourself of mental health and wellness. So you can say, no, I'm unable to do this today. No, I cannot lend you this money. No, I'm not. You know how school like to hire you as a teacher, then you have bus duty. That
Right.
wasn't a part of your job when they were hiring you, and canteen
Ooh,
duty. And
don't
somehow they
step
just
on
say,
the toes
but you have
now.
to do
Don't
it.
step on their toes.
Why don't you hire somebody for the bus? Why me? You didn't hire
That
me
is
for
what
that.
happens at the school because the schools don't have enough money to pay people. So they ask the teachers to double up, do this and do that, things that were not in their contract. But the teachers do it because they want the school to
To keep
thrive
going.
and
So if you
rise.
are feeling overwhelmed, you can say to your head teacher and to your principal, based on how I'm feeling now and experiencing and my health, I don't think this is an extra work that I want to take on. And be very clear and confident. Don't be rude and don't say, oh, you never I am for that. Yeah, when I pay me more, that's not what we're telling you to say. We're saying just have that open and honest conversation, but make
Yeah.
sure that you take care. Only you can take care of your mental health. And the next thing is say how you're feeling. If you're feeling overwhelmed, there's no shame in the game to say, I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's just say that. Use all the wellness tools that the school offers.
What if the school doesn't offer any wellness tools? I
So,
wrote in the group today, how does your school help you with mental health? Was it that? Or how does your school help with teacher well-being? Something along that line. And the teachers were in the comments saying, what are you talking about? We know not such a thing. What are you talking about? School? Mental
so,
health? Hmm. So some schools, especially
so
local schools
here's
in Jamaica, don't know what you're talking about mental health tools.
right. So let's go.
Oh,
Let's backtrack then a little bit. If so, I'm going to just go with. I'm going to assume that your school has these pathways and tools and procedures. So use them if they have them. If they do not have them, you need to start document. You need to get help for yourself because your mental health is okay. You only you care about your mental health. Clearly, if the school doesn't have it, the school cannot afford to take care of your mental health. Therefore, you, because it's your mental health, will have to take care of your own mental health. So
right.
you go and find out on your own, but document it. Because if you do not document that you have no support, the problem does not exist. The problem doesn't exist. What are you talking about? Nobody complains. Nobody has put anything in. So then after you do that, you'd have to get yourself and your colleagues to write and say, listen, we have no support. Right? Your teacher, your principal, right? The head of year or head of department, right? The ministry, right? The teachers association. Because once you document it, then that's when you actually have on paper that this is a problem. Without any form of documentation, a problem does not exist.
Right. Oh boy. All right. So we're getting in the meat of the matter, everyone. Remember, you can always leave your questions down below in the comment section for Miss Trudy King, our mental health professional that's here with us today. All right. So we're going to talk about how you can evaluate your mental health a little bit later on. But tell us now, how can teachers support their children so that they don't mirror their own emotions. Because when teachers go home, they are stressed and sometimes they unload that stress onto the family. So, how can the teachers manage their stressful emotions as to not to burden their children that they have or their spouse, and so that they don't get mirror back that?
Okay, so can I just use this question to answer a few range of teachers? So the
Sure.
teacher and the children in her classroom, first of all, because that can happen in her classroom, the
Right,
teacher and her family. And we had discussed earlier about Sunday school teachers because they're teachers too, and you have some teachers that double up as Sunday school teachers.
right.
So again, you're going to hear the story to spot your own signs. Sometimes you can spot what's happening to you, and you can spot it in
Mm.
your family or the children in your class.
Another thing to truly, they can know their triggers too, right?
Yes. So know what's happening. Know
Mm.
what's happening. Just as how somebody who's epileptic would say, I can't do this, this is gonna make me be that way. You will when you do this a mental health awareness training, you'll have all of the tools now to be able to make an informed decision, to say how you're experiencing, to be able to communicate, to get your child or your family member to easily, or the children in your classroom or your Sunday school class, to say what's happening. Then be aware of the children. Just keep vigilant of how they're behaving. If their behaviors have changed a little bit, that's outside of their normal personality,
Right.
check for your own body language tone and the information you're sharing. It's not acceptable. It frightens a young child.
But what if that's how I express my emotions? I'm under stress, When someone is under stress, they're not thinking of how other people watching them and how they don't have that amount of time to manage emotions. Right now, they're stressed. All
And
they're
that's
trying
why
to do is
it
not
is
go crazy, as people would say. I'm just trying to hang on.
so that's
So,
why it is important to get awareness training, because
right,
in the awareness training you are taught how to manage that situation. It's really key. We can't manage what we don't know. If I should say to you, if somebody collapses beside you on the train, would you know how to do CPR or use an AED? Chances are no, because you've not had
the
the
training.
regular first aid training. But when you know how to do it, you'll have no problem delivering CPR and using an AED if it's near. It's the same thing with awareness training and how to manage those. You are able to now manage your body language and your tone and the information that you share. So if you believe it's doom and gloom and everybody's going to die from the whole world is going to die from the virus, and you talk that in front of a 5-year-old, an 8-year-old,
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think they're going to think? They're going to go to their bed scared now. And if you watch all these and that's your late night movie before you go to bed with them. So we have to take responsibility. We have to take responsibility. Because that's the first thing. So another teacher can't come to your classroom and you have a whole conversation in front of the kids with body language and tone. Then before, employ all of your self-help strategies. And here's another thing too: introduce mental health awareness to your children, whether it's your classroom children or your own children or your Sunday school children. Introduce it to them and say, listen, this is mental health, this is awareness, and these are what we call self-help strategies. And then get them, you know what, like how we make classroom rules,
Mm-hmm.
we get them to say, what's the rule we're going to make? Rules in the classroom for self-help strategy. Say, once you make them aware, because they will say,
Right.
oh miss, and you know what, we must be nice to the next person. get them and create that chart and leave it in the classroom somewhere visual. Do it at home with your children, because they will tell you, okay, so when I'm sad, I just need to go and sit in the corner. They'll tell you what will make them happy, not the bad make them happy, but the good make them, the positive part. The child in your classroom comes with a chart saying that they have a diagnosed illness. Look at the chart, see what it says, and see how to manage it. So when I did supply, I had a little girl. She had massive, really terrible panic attacks. So, and she walked around with a book. When she got from one class to the other without having a panic attack, we would give her a reward and stuff like that. And so you have to know the child. So she's having a, I think I was doing some tapping in the class of about 30 children. And she was already in the class, but she literally, you could see a change of that. Then I would be like, little girl, what's your problem? Sit down. That's not acceptable. So if your child comes with a chart, know the children in your class, know what their medical conditions are if the school allows you to, and know how to deal with. And here's another thing too. You don't have to disclose because of confidentiality the child's medical condition. But if we start to cultivate in our children, teenagers, it doesn't matter who, culture, we can now get everybody to be mindful of each other. So the child's business doesn't have to be disclosed, but everybody's now thinking of each other. And if you do the same thing at home, get everybody happy. Same thing in Sunday school. What do we do to keep everyone happy? And that's how we will help our children to be able to do that. And listen non-judgmentally. And I just want to pause here. I've seen it so many times. When you say to the child, what's made you unhappy? And they go, mommy, go, what? You're wicked, like, I'm a feed them, a clothes them, a carry for 9 months. Please, please, spare us. The child is entitled to their opinion and to be able to say what's happening in their reality. I know it's a child, so maybe their reality isn't actually true. And that's why the adults have to, with wisdom, guide them.
Right.
So don't start taking things personal. Say, see, oh, you're wicked, let's say like a pooper. That's you resorting down to a child level. Somebody has to be the adult. So listen non-judgmentally. If it's your classroom child, they might tell you that they have not eaten for 5 days. I mean, well, social service will be called in if they haven't eaten for 5 days. But they might tell you something that doesn't happen in your home normally. Don't
Right.
go, oh, well, your mother don't have any sense. Your mother careless. She what they see. We can't do stuff like that. So we have to understand, just listen. We're not there to give any form of judgment. We're there to listen, to hear, and to see how we can help. Maybe we can't help. And here's another thing where teachers can take care of their mental health. Maybe know your remit with your colleagues and with your students. Don't go outside of your remit. Escalate it to the next person that's above. That's their remit now. Escalate it to them. Use all the policies and procedures to escalate it. And if it's in your home, you're going to have to get professional help. Escalate it to a therapist, a doctor, somebody like that.
Right. Wow. All right, so that's a lot of information, guys. Hi, Denicia Wright. Thank you for joining us. Denicia says, yes, cut them off. Denicia, it seems as if you have some family members you want to cut off right now. All right. All right, so we are going now into the advice portion of our conversation. So, what kind of advice would you give to teachers for positive thinking exercises that they can do themselves, or even with their family, or even with their class?
So the first thing we want to do is we want to understand that we should be moving towards positive emotions. Means the anger, the frustration, the depressed. We want to move into gratitude, joy, love, self-worth, and appreciation and accomplishment. And I always use this example, success. Now, success, if I said to success to some people, they'll think you have a big house and a car. But success simply is just setting a task and accomplishing it. So if your task is to brush your teeth and you've done it, you're successful.
That's right.
And when we make increments of success and put them all together, we will soon realize that no, we're not losing. No, the world isn't falling. No, the whole day isn't bad. And that's how we want to change what's happening. Too often we look at success as an end destination, not realizing that it's a journey.
Right.
So we change how we think. So if your idea is, I'm going to teach my little ones their 2 times table today, and you taught 30 children and 5 got it, you were successful, because we all know that probably all 30 children won't get it at the same time. So you can tick that success box. I mean, you straight away, then, I mean, you've moved past success, you out of this world, you're just another different planet.
Right.
So it's being grateful after you've accomplished it's small increments of success. I don't bite success off in big chunks. It's setting a small task for me now that I've learned it, and that's how I'm managing my mental health. Setting a small task, my sins to everybody. Sometimes I'm thinking, oh, I want to clean. Yeah, I want to clean the house. And I sit down and think, oh, I'm going to clean. And then I just think about everywhere that I have to clean. And then I get tired. And then I go, no, it's time to have a cup of tea, a sandwich, and of cleaning everywhere all together makes me tired. And I soon realized that this is not going to work out. This house needs cleaning.
Yes.
So I take my cleaning in increments. I don't think about the whole house. I give myself a day, and I walk and I start with the bathroom early in the morning, and then I do something else, and I come to the kitchen, and by the end of the day, it's clean. But some people can go from start to finish and not stop. If that's not you, then take it in increments.
Right.
So manage your success.
There's a good girlfriend of mine that said she started cleaning at night because she has 3 kids and she can keep her house clean when the kids are around. So when they go to bed, that's when she cleans. So 12 o'clock, midnight, she's up cleaning. So
and we're going to look at that in terms of how to cope, changing your routine. So she changed her routine from when she didn't have kids to when now that she has kids. So it's taking those things in increments and appreciate. You have to first start appreciating you. So look at the small things about you, and do not agree with the negative things about you. Agree with the positive things about you. So if you go, I'm black and ugly, don't agree with that. When those things come up, don't agree with that. Fine. Oh my God, I've got beautiful eyes. To agree with. Joyful. Have joy. Find joy in little things. It's some little things. Like I was going to write on my Facebook page, what was I having? I think I was having, patty and cocoa bread. I think I was having, but it tasted so good. And I was going to write next to God, because I have a list of things. Next to God, what should be there? Next to God is cereal, soya milk, and a raisin bran. Next to God is freshly baked bread and butter. Next to God is patty and cocoa bread. Next to God is pineapples. I just love pineapples. And it's just so small things. Of course, it's just so small things. Next, so joy. I have good friends, and so you're just happy when you think of, I do have people in my phone I can talk to confidentially. So it's that happiness to know that your business stays there. It's that love. And the Bible says, scripture also says, for God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. Where there is fear, we're not going to have any power, we're not going to have any love, and we're not going to have any sound mind. That's why we can't trust. If we can't trust, we can't love. And that's why we can't have our phone filled with people that we can trust. We need to have our phones filled with people that we can love and trust.
And there's something that they said there are
And
three
everybody, not everybody.
yeah, I was just saying there are three gates
Go ahead.
people say you usually go through when you're finding a good friend or even when you're doing business. You have to know, you have to find people that you know, like, and trust. So go into your phone for persons you know, do you like them and trust them? Put that through those
Mm-hmm.
three gates and see if it comes up true. I want to piggyback on what you were saying and iterate on the fact you were saying about agreeing with negative thoughts or agreeing with positive thoughts. Now, if there is a negative thought or there's a criticism that is said of you, in my opinion, I would think someone could just sit and really think, is this true? And if it is true, if I'm not good in an area, it is okay because I cannot be good in every area.
True, true.
So I'm good. I didn't do this well today. That's okay. Next time I'll try. Or what strategies can I use to do it better next time around? Or maybe you have identified a character flaw. That's true. I'm not
So
as
you work
honest as I would like to
on it.
be. I'm not as I don't have as much integrity as I would like to. Let me work on that. Let me find strategies to work on that to increase that level. So when you're saying about the agreeing of the negative, it just depends on if it is truth. So when you are saying somebody says I'm black and I'm ugly, so don't agree with that. I agree with that because black doesn't equate ugly. So that's
No,
not true.
so if we take that, just let's look at that one. Most
Mm,
people, because of how they're feeling, their emotions on the inside, they might go. People say it all the time to them. I
right.
wouldn't agree with that because it is not. Yes, you are dark skinned, and you're a relative, and the person, somebody might just like what they're seeing, and anyway, that's you. You can't walk around these people that take pictures and say, no, I'm not posting that on Facebook, it's ugly. Well, it's you. Sorry, probably I shouldn't say that, but it's you. So anyway, my picture looks, I just put it up because it's me.
Right.
It's
Right.
me. But I turn this way, I turn that way, it's still me.
It's still
And I've
you.
come to learn to accept it.
Accept. Absolutely.
And so
Accept your beauty and your
I now
flaws.
don't
That's
say
what
it is a
makes you
negative, it
human.
is just me. I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Yes, yes. And so the negatives that I say ignore and don't agree with are the ones that are
Okay.
malicious.
Okay.
That's her grandmother told you because she didn't like you.
Okay.
Those ones that are hurtful and
Yeah.
just don't come from no base of love.
Right.
Those are the ones I don't want
I
anybody.
agree.
I'm sorry, I'm
I
not going
agree.
to agree with.
I
So
agree.
somebody said to me, "You're so organized," and I said to her, and I thought in my head, several people because they are so disorganized and trying to make me look bad for being organized. I said, "No, I'm
Right.
not organized for you being disorganized. I won't. I'm
Hmm.
not taking any form of. I can't live in chaos. Maybe you can, but I can't." And so, to protect my mental health, I have to put structure in place.
Hmm.
So can you let me know what time you are coming, what time to pick this up, so I can know what to do. I can't just live on, oh, when I come, I come. It doesn't work like that for me. So it's some little bits of things that people will do that don't agree with it. It's not coming from a good place. It's never going to go to a good place. You can't say what went well with that because nothing is going to happen. Those are the bits. Don't agree with them.
Right.
And then
I
we
agree. I
move on
agree
to
with that
peace
one.
and
Thanks for explaining.
inspiration. Some people can be very malicious, and some things have been seeped into our psyche from we're small, from family members. Don't agree with those. It's not true. It's just not true. Reevaluate who you are and don't agree with them. And so other things we want teachers to do is look at having peace, inspiration. You be an inspiration and gain some inspiration and hope thou in God. Hope, have some hope. There's a reason. So I always tell people, not everybody's going to die from the virus. Be hopeful. What would happen to us?
Right.
Everybody's gonna not everybody's gonna die. Look at it. Look at the positives. And some people have recovered.
Exactly.
So let's keep on the positive side of things. I'm not saying ignore. As a researcher, you have what's called the level of margin of error. So
Right.
as a researcher, it is hard for me to tell people just keep positive all the time. There is a margin, a 5% margin of things going good or bad. And I tell people, because of mental health, think of the 5% good or bad, but don't dwell on the 5% bad. Just go for the 5% bad first. So here's what we don't do: we don't jump to conclusions,
Mm.
misread things, or predict anything without first getting the correct information, fact checking it, and going to the source. So if there's a rumor in the school saying the school's going to close down and so on, so on, so go straight to the head teacher, the principal, and find out, is this true?
Sometimes they
Because
won't tell you so.
sometimes they won't tell you, but for your own mental health, walk away knowing that they said no, then work with that, and then they might spring it on you, and you have to, and you know that 5% margin of error. Just think that in the back of your head too, but don't come say I lie them. I tell you no, no, don't go that first. Don't go there first. Then what you want to do is look at the positive first. Not everything is catastrophe.
Mhm.
So school is going to reopen face to face. There are positives. You get to see your students again, even though you're wearing mask. They get to say good morning, miss, and smile.
Mhm.
And then you'll see their lovely smiles when they take them. You'll hear the chatter again. You get to sing the national anthem at devotion again. It's such a beautiful thing to sing the national anthem at devotion again with the little ones. There are positives.
Right.
There are positives. You get to change a child's life. A child gets to leave a toxic home, and you are their safe space again. And you
Right.
get to speak words of life into that child that will change their life for the rest of their life. I could draw out a whole list of negatives that people are saying about returning to face to face, but there are positives as well. What we
Yes.
want to do
Yes.
also is to implement contingency or continuity plans.
Mhm.
So, that 5% error that we talk about,
Right.
just make a plan. And pull out the wheel every day and start crying over the wheel. Oh, I don't want Uncle Fred to die. Oh, I don't want myself to die. No. But you have to make a plan for something. So you make your plan and implement them as needed. So something happens, just like how if you live somewhere and it snows, one of the things we had to do was make a plan for snow days,
Right.
implement it. So we had everything worked out. As soon as the rain came, as soon as the snow came, we knew we called everybody who had an SUV, because those are the ones that can go through the snow and the water. Implement make a continuity plan. It's not just how the door swing, how it hangs, it swings kind of thing.
Right.
It will work better for your mental health. And anybody who knows me say, yeah, yeah, Trudy, you say that because you like to plan stuff. I like planning stuff. Don't take anything personal in the thought unless it's actually true. But look objectively. As you said earlier, what went well, even better. If what good can come from this, what can I learn from this? Ignore the parts that is just not going to change. Look at all that is happening. Don't take, and here's another thing too. Some people take only the parts they want. You can't do that. It's dangerous. That's why people join some places, because they only take the parts that they want to know. Yeah, be objective. So I'm on I'm a particular persuasion about some things, but I have friends that do other things. I listen to their standpoint. I understand life from their stand. It doesn't mean I'm going to participate in it. Doesn't mean I believe what they believe, but I know where I'm coming from as well. And so we want to do that. We want to ensure that we don't label that if any picnic comes to school and have COVID, they have COVID for life. So if any child has a mental health issue, they have mental health issue for life. If any teacher have a mental health issue, they have a mental health issue for life. That's not true. So we want to remove that. We don't want to put any labels. We don't want to exaggerate and we don't want to minimize either. We want to be practical, look at it for what it is. Don't say, oh, 1,000,000,000 things are going to happen. 1,000,000,000 things. You know, those people that something happens in the morning, they go, oh, my day is ruined. Your day, it's only 9 o'clock. How can the rest of the day be ruined?
Exactly.
It's just that moment that was ruined. You still have 10, 11, 12, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock to make it better. So
Absolutely.
don't exaggerate. And equally don't minimize. So if something really bad has happened at 9 o'clock, don't say, oh, just wait until I have lunch, then I deal with it. No, to deal with it. If a student says, Miss, I feel like killing myself, you can't wait until lunch. Sorry. If a co-worker says that you can't wait until lunch, that cannot wait until lunch. So we don't want to minimize.
Right.
So we want to keep ourselves in happy, positive thoughts, looking at the bright side, but managing what we would deem as negative. Have a plan to manage the negative. We know life doesn't always go according to plan, but have something.
Yeah.
Have something. Just like when people have wills, have something, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah. Listen, guys, we have gotten the perfect professional to take us through this tumultuous time that we have on our hands, but we're going through it with positivity, positive thoughts all the time, right? All the time.
Yes.
So let me now put your information there for anyone who wants to contact Trudy, any school who would like to take on Trudy's mental health training, any association, and I mean the JTA, the JTC, and all the other associations that are out there that could really do with Trudy's mental health training. Her email address is training@ecafnp.com. All right. And Trudy, you can tell them about the lovely gift that you have to give them.
So it's in this form. So what we're currently facing in the pandemic is how things have changed so much,
Right.
because previously when things happen, things never normally happen concurrently. They happen consecutively, and if they happen concurrently, it's not too much. And if they do, we get a bit of a break,
Right.
and we have a support group or network to help us. So whether it's family or friends and going to the gym or going to church. With this pandemic, what has happened is, just in case you're wondering, why am I feeling this way? What's happening is things are happening concurrently and consecutively all at the same time,
Right.
without a break and without your support network. Can't go to church like but all isn't lost.
Mhm.
All isn't lost. So here is a way to cope. What you can do is, what has clearly happened is, and here's another thing too, the fear and uncertainty. So imagine fear, uncertainty paramount, and then things are happening concurrently, and all of this. So what you need to do is, so your needs have changed. That which you need to survive, without it you will die. Your needs have changed. So it is important that you sit tonight, tomorrow, whenever, and write down what changes have happened. How is my old life no different from my new? So for a lot of us, our old life meant we went out, and now we're at working from home. In ECAF never did anything online until the pandemic. We've now totally moved to online, and now we were only delivering in the UK. Now we're delivering all over the world. Anybody can take. We use Zoom to deliver our courses now. I never thought that would happen.
Mhm.
We have trained force, so we trained the medical services branch of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, led by Dr. George Lethbridge. The Deputy Commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blake, and Mr. Stewart, they both agreed that this was a training that, you know, they could take, to take up, and we trained them, 17 members. And remember that these people are psychiatrists and psychologists, but they said that they wanted to understand how to be able to relate to their clients just on an ordinary level, because sometimes when you're trained to such high level, sometimes you start using professional jargons, and they really wanted, and I commend the JCF, they really wanted to connect with the police and with the public, and we trained them. And our training, they were the first ones that we trained via Zoom, and I was shaking. I was so shaking, and I'm like, this is not gonna work. And they said to me, this is gonna work, Trudy. We're just gonna all go through it together. We've never done this either, so we're gonna. And we ended up having so much fun over Zoom. I just couldn't imagine it. So that's what we wanted. We want to sit and think, what changes have occurred? What are the new needs? Because you have new needs and you're struggling because you're not identifying that you have new needs. Your old life has gone. It might look like normal, but it isn't. So sit down and work it out. What are my new needs? And if you have new needs, you have new ways of meeting those needs. You have to. So what I tend to do now for me is I start network. What's my support network then? What do I do? Because you have to cope somehow. So I was never someone to use my phone a lot to talk on the phone, and definitely I didn't video anybody. No, I video everybody if I can. And we do WhatsApp video group calls in my family or with my friends.
Right.
So the first thing I'd want to say, if you're a person of faith, pray. God still understands. He's still working. You know, he knows. He's in, the scripture says, from the foundation of the world, he knows all the thoughts. Make this new routine for your work and home. Your needs have changed. So like your friend, she understands that my needs and my capabilities have changed. So instead of me trying to fight to clean the house when 3 kids are up, let me change my routine. So one of the first things I did during the Friday, I'm not, because there's nowhere to go Saturday and Sunday. So I'm going to be locked in my house 7 days a week. No. So I'm going to work. I'm going to be on holiday from Monday to Friday and work all of my Monday to Friday, all of Saturday and Sunday, except for going to church on Zoom. I had to employ such, because I didn't want to feel like I was just now trapped. And then we all know if you're working from home, you work more hours than with nowhere to go. So I thought, I'm not having this. So I had, everybody thought,
when you're at home.
Yes. And you don't feel like you want to take a sick day, but take your sick day. If you're not a teacher, if you're a teacher or whoever watching, you're still entitled to sick days, even though you're working from home. You're still entitled to take your holidays. And so I decided I'm changing my routine to make it work for my mental health.
Right.
Learn relaxation techniques. And I don't mean any, just simple ones like breathing and stretching. Learn something new. Like I've learned how to sew. And anybody who knows me, and I actually know how to string my own machine that I paid my own money for and bought years ago. And it took me 2 days to watch YouTube to figure out how to string it. Yes, please. And so I learned how to make my material because I fell ill because I used a scarf to cover my face and it crashed my respiratory system, and subsequent things happened. So I've learned how to make my own cloth masks. Volunteer. So I do a lot of volunteering as well. Mm-hmm. It keeps my day busy, gives me something to do. Be a safe space for someone. So if you find that your mental health is a lot and it's for them business and I don't want to know, if you are getting in that realm, it means that you can't cope with hearing other people's problems. So it's not for you.
Right.
But if you have a much more healthy approach, you can help someone. As we said, spend quality time with your friends and family, video call, everybody in foreign, get on a big group chat, keep it positive. Right. One of the things I think I did with my family was that we discussed facts. So we made sure that we cleared up any disinformation and anything that anybody put in the WhatsApp group that was a little bit might not be correct. We say, have you fact check this? Because nobody's gonna lose any sleep over something that's not correct.
Right.
But if your family and friends are your source of problem, you're gonna have to find a new network. And there are lots of new networks out there. Just be safe. Just make sure you're not being harmed. Yes? Make sure that they're not leaving your emotions tattered. They're not manipulating you. Your thinking isn't changing and becoming more dark and sinister. And you are not physically being harmed while you're there in their presence. Eat and maintain a healthy diet. Now is not the time to start baking every day because you're get enough sleep.
You need to come out of my house. Come out of my life, girl.
So make sure to get enough sleep.
Mhm.
You need your 8 hours. If a morning person, if you're a morning person, or if you're a night person, but you have to get up for work, you're not gonna lose anything on Facebook. Trust me. No new news not gonna come out. No $1 million not gonna come out overnight. Well, maybe it might. Forgive me, but go to your bed early. Employ going to your bed early, and employ your children going to their beds early as well. Get enough sleep.
Get to sleep. That's
Exercise. Exercise, even if it's chair size, so sitting on a chair. Exercise, and as we said, monitor the news and take. I only watch the news probably once or twice for the day, but I know some people. I won't call any names. Yes, Venice. I know some people from them wake up in the morning, then have on some certain, and they just and I have to say, come, give me a break. Are you gonna really watch that all? First of all, I go, that's stale news anyway. After the first breaking news is stale news. You can't have the same news being breaking news throughout the whole day. So that's stale news. And so you have to just monitor the news. That's okay. You can switch off your own TV that you have paid for. You can switch it off.
right.
Ask for help if you're feeling overwhelmed. And the key thing is speak to your doctor. Any of these, if you have been feeling any of these for since the start of the pandemic or before the pandemic, for 2 weeks to a month, and we're now 19 months into the pandemic. So if you're still feeling any of these without getting professional help, you need professional help straight away. So if
Right.
you've been feeling anxious, if you've been feeling worried, if you've been feeling stressed, tired of the pandemic or pandemic fatigue, so now you just don't care, you just don't wear a mask, or you just don't wash your hands anymore, don't clean on the products in your house anymore, don't clean the door handles anymore. You can't sleep properly. You can't make proper plans. Your head is just confused. It's just always your turn. If you just start shopping endlessly, every minute you're going on Amazon to buy something, if you're eating endlessly or if you're not eating, if you have no motivation, if you're angry and restless and withdrawn, you find out they're having more panic attacks, you're fearful, somebody might get the virus, somebody might die, you're crying for no reason, you're waking up worried and sweating, you have muscle tension and chest pains. If you're experiencing these for more than 2 weeks to a month, the professionals say you need to speak to a doctor. If you are a teacher and you realize that you are feeling that, remember that we said physical health is the same as mental health. You
Right.
wouldn't go to work physically unwell. Well, some people do. They go with high blood pressure and stuff like that, but they have ways of controlling it. They have blood pressure tablets. But if you are physically really not well, you wouldn't turn up for work. Therefore, you should not turn up for work if you are not mentally well. It's okay because you're not helping anybody.
Right.
If you turn up for work and you're vomiting, you're coughing up, you can't really teach the children, can you? you can't really effectively teach. So if your mind isn't alert and healthy, you're not actually doing a good job. You might think you're doing a good job, but you're doing a disservice to yourself, to your colleagues, and to the students. So it's okay. Your mind is important to you. It's when you leave that school or that workplace, you have to go home with your mind. So the onus has to be on you. You have to take ownership of taking care of your mind. Don't feel guilty for taking care of your mind. Do you know how many people I've lost because I've decided to take care of my mind? I will not answer my phone after 10. I've gone to my bed. Sorry, tomorrow. I mean, there's nothing you're going to tell me. I can't pay attention anyway because I want to sleep. I
Right.
can't help you. But tomorrow morning, when I'm brightened up, and so unless it's an emergency, you know how many arguments I've had to have for people to get it after a while. I have gone to my bed. Say you not answer me. You never want to talk to me. Actually, no, because I want to sleep.
Right. So that's
So
your
take
boundary.
ownership. My boundary. So take ownership of taking care of your mental. Don't feel guilty for taking care of your mental. Don't be mean about it, but don't feel guilty. Seek professional help. Your school needs mental health awareness training and policies and procedures and activities. If they don't have any, call us. Your church needs it.
There
Your
is the
school,
email address right there below for persons who want to send their principals, administrators to Trudy. Trudy can work out a lovely package for the teachers on staff, the administrators, the ancillary staff. Don't forget your ancillary staff people.
yes,
Persons that
yes,
work in the canteen, the janitors,
yes,
the people who clean up outside and inside. Don't forget them when you do training. We have a tendency to just want to train the teachers on staff, the academic staff, and forget our ancillary staff and even sometimes the administrators, the secretary in the principal's office and so forth. Encourage everyone to come within the training and so that everyone can get these skills and learn about the tools and strategies so that the school can thrive even in the midst of a pandemic. All right, Trudy. So this is
yes.
the wrap up session now. We're wrapping up. I'm going to have you leave one
Sorry.
last thought to our viewers. One last thought from a professional to the viewers on mental health and what they need to do right now to take care of their mental health.
One, the first thing is there is help. A mental health illness can be treated with the right help. Seek professional help straight away. Let them tell you, okay, you can do self-help strategy, you're not that bad, but seek it straight away. There's no shame in doing that. Not all help too come with a blue pill and medication. So just seek the professional help. It could be that you just need talk therapy, but let them tell you, they'll be able to tell you what. So mental health all means tablets. So you don't have to be afraid that they're going to give you no tablets and say you're blue pill and send it to Bellevue. No, just go seek some help, and then they will look and assess and point you in the right direction. But don't not do anything. Do something about it.
All right, there
And
you
that's
have
it,
it, guys.
Venice.
Action speak louder than words. If you know you have a problem and know yourself best, seek help. All right, go to someone that you know, like, and trust, or even if it's just a stranger to speak to so you can get that help. So we thank you, Miss Trudy King, for coming and blessing us tonight and talking about mental health issues. It's a very important issue to talk about, but even so, many of us go without even equating it with physical health. We think if we're physically well, then all is well. But not so, says Miss King.
No,
He equates physical health
no.
with mental health. If you're not feeling well mentally, then you are ill and need help. All right, so thank you, Miss King. Thank you guys for tuning in. As usual, we thank you for just supporting us every week, coming and hearing what we have to say, and subscribing to us, sharing our videos, liking the videos also, and of course, just telling people about what we do here. We pray and help, and we advise you to take the advice of Miss King. And we just hope that you are well, not only physically, but mentally. I'll see you next week where we'll have another special guest. This time we'll, of course, go back to our Sunday evenings and we'll talk about another important topic that's affecting our teachers today. Thank you all and have a wonderful night. Bye.
Okay, good night.